Don't know how to start tonight because I am feeling a bit nervous, and I've been a lot of the client work I've been doing the last couple of weeks. I was saying to you has been about social anxiety. There's a lot of social anxiety has been coming up in my work, and I'm not sure whether I'm experiencing vicarious trauma of some of that work. So I think I'm probably going to bumble a little bit more tonight than I normally do, but that's all right, isn't it?
It's absolutely fine, because I'd be helping you more if I weren't nervous.
But I think we're amongst friends. One of the things I notice about, I'm going to try and pick the right word, your tribe, your mates, and your former band members, is whenever you do stuff like this or events, you get loads of your band members come in.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think it's partly Leeds and partly the way that people are, but we do go to each other's things, and we do try and support each other, and that's probably why part of the reason we were a band or a group of friends and are a group of friends for so long. But that is true. I mean, I was relieved actually when my mates started turning up tonight.
I think it is really lovely though, and part of the reason why I'm nervous is I've not told you this. I'm going to be really honest.
Okay.
Now.
God,
in
fucking
public.
Nervous now. What are you going to say?
No, in public.
Okay.
So we only met. I mean, I've seen you over the years, seen you loads, but we only spoke for the first time about maybe 18 months ago, and you came up to me and you were really lovely. You said, I like the stuff that you do, and I was gobsmacked because I've admired what you've done creatively and politically for a lot of years, but I had this impression of you that I was a bit scared of you.
Do you know what? I've had that ever since I started being in a band.
Have you?
Yeah. I think it's a mixture of partly. I were always okay on stage until I opened my mouth, and then I were like Margaret Thatcher, honestly. Do you know what I mean? Whatever I were like off, I could be fine and relaxed with my mates. And then I opened my mouth, and I were like, don't steal children. And we're really, really sort of strict, but not meaning to be. I think it were nerves. And I also think it's that, I've had a lot of people who've come up and said the same thing to me for years, which is things like, oh, she's going to cut your balls off. And I just think, oh, for fuck's sake, it's boring. Do you know what I mean? It's really boring. And it's not based on the way I behave with people. I think it's based on, if you see a woman and she's not subservient, and I admit it, I'm opinionated, and you don't have this thing where, and I actually make people cups of tea to prove I'm nice. I mean, that is so ridiculous. You know, I work with people and I go out of my way to go, would anyone like a cup of tea? And I put kettle on it. You know, I'm working with actors at the moment, and at break times I go out of my way to go, anybody want tea? But if anybody expected me to make tea, I wouldn't in a million years. Sure, yeah. And so I think if people have expectations of you, which is, oh my God, she's strappy, and she's Thatcherite, but to the left, then I'm not going to make them a cup of tea to prove I'm not, but I will try and be pleasant. I mean, the point when Chumbawamba was selling records, I had a cramp from grinning at shopkeepers on Trine Street because I was so determined that they weren't going to think I were a wanker that shopping took twice as long. So I'd be like, hello. And they probably thought, oh, she's here again. She wants to talk about herself. But honestly, I was trying to prove, I've realised whenever we've done anything, and I mean there's a group of people, it's got a certain amount of fame, I've sort of gone the other way to prove that you don't have to become somebody who behaves badly. And I think there's a bit in that that's a bit disingenuous. Do you know what?
Go on.
As in, it's not entirely healthy. You're trying to prove to strangers that you're nice.
That you're going to like throw a brick through the window.
No, not just that, that you're not, you know, I mean, I look at other people when I'm working with them, and whether they offer me a cup of tea is quite important. You know, whether they go, oh, we're in this together. Because I had that for a lot of years, that you're in a gang and you try and do things to make things easier to work in a gang. So now I'm not in a band anymore, but I do things that you know, I work in groups still with the writing stuff. When anything's getting made, then you work in a group of people. And you notice the people who sit there and go, Alistair, could you get me a cup of tea? And the people who occasionally will go, does anybody want a brew? Or we need some biscuits, I'll go and get some. And I'm so used to people thinking, oh, well, this needs to be done. And that came from Chumbawamba, this needs to be done. All right, I'll do it. The world I work in now, I hold it against people if they don't offer to make a brew. No, seriously, it's terrible, isn't it? I mean, seriously, if they don't say, oh, it's my turn, if I make them 3 cups of tea without them saying, do you want a cup of tea? It's like a mark.
Tipping point.
Well, I know, but so to you saying, you know, people have said that over the years that they were scared of me. But I don't really think that it's particularly based on how I treat people.
No, of course not. No, I mean, you know, my perception was of... I've got a mate here tonight, Kath. There's somewhere who... So, oh, Kath's over there. Who was telling me about when you were really young and punk happened. Remember you told me this years ago. You thought it was this band of savages who were roaming around the land smashing stuff up. Yeah. And so, you know, I think we do have that. And I've always related Chumbawamba to being this kind of anarcho-punk thing. I don't know if that's...
No, but that you know, that was absolutely true, the thing of anarcho-punk. But we were pretty polite, you know.
Oh, yeah, no, I've met quite a lot of you now, and you're really lovely.
But but I think it's based on the perception of what people think you're going to behave like. Well, for instance, I mean, I don't normally tell rock and roll stories, but I'll tell them. That when we did Top at Pops, I found it really weird. And I sat there sort of looking at people askew, because I thought it was, you know, my sort of job to not be impressed by it. So I sat there going, at people going past. And All Saints were on. And they didn't speak to us. And then we met them again, and I was stood in the corridor talking to a woman that worked for the record company. And they were the same record company that All Saints had. And the woman said to one of them who walked past, I don't know which one it were, "Hiya." And she turned around and went, "Oh, hiya, I thought you were one of the nobodies." At which point I was like, oh, that's beyond bad. Yeah. What is she going to say? And this woman went, "No, it's me."
What makes a person say stuff like that?
Well, a bizarre... I think we have a bizarre notion of if you do something that people like for 2 minutes, that somehow you've got a right to behave badly. And that isn't true, because the older you get, the more you realise people work with you if you're easy to work with. And that's got a downside. You can't be too easy to work with because you end up producing shit. But people somehow think that a level of success comes with that somehow you're not mortal anymore and you can't, you know.
It's weird, isn't it?
It is really bizarre, and I think part of of being a human being is treating other people as human beings. And whatever you do, and for some reason I'm thinking about this morning, that the things that most people do should carry value when they don't carry value. You know, so if you do something that gets a certain level of attention and fame, then it's easy for you to feel confident because that carries value in the world. But people do brilliant things all the time, but it's not recognised as valuable, so that confidence isn't there. And so we're thinking, how do you, because you can't, everybody you meet, you can't go, I really want to know about you, because you'd just be scary.
Yeah.
But when people meet you and you've done certain things, you come with that added value already. I'm talking bollocks now, I'm sorry, I'm going to shut up.
No, it's brilliant. No, not at all, no. Keep going.
But so it's sort of an unhealthy situation. And so when I'm in Chumbawamba, I used to judge what people were like by the way they treat my mates, who nobody had ever heard of. So if they said hello to me and they didn't speak to my mates, it was like, okay, no, I don't really want to be your friend. You know what I mean? No matter how much effort you're making with me.
Where does that come from? Where does that notion come from you then? Is it, you know, is it upbringing?
Upbringing? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm a kid of working class conservatives. My dad was a Conservative councillor. My mum were a nurse. Polite, you know, behaved abominably but never said fuck. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but also that, no, I don't think it comes from upbringing. I think, although it's not a thing, you know, the way people behave are the way you should value them. But I think it came from, for so many years we were a band, we were an anarchist band. I think it was really good that we didn't instantly get a lot of fame, because by the time we got any, we thought, well, this is weird. You know what I mean?
It must have been, yeah.
Whereas if you're younger, then maybe you think, I am special. Whereas we'd already got to a point where the things that make people special aren't instantly readable. This is a strange conversation. I don't normally do interviews like this.
We're just having a chat.
Okay, we're just having a chat.
That's my get out, and I try and say this to every one of these that we do, that I ain't got a clue what we're doing here. I've got nothing prepared.
I think that's fine, and I was relieved on way down that I had nothing to sell. Do you know what I mean? That I haven't got art to sell you. I haven't got a film. I haven't got.
You've got a play coming up.
Yeah, I have got a play coming up. I know, but you don't buy it here. No, yeah, I have got something to sell, but I don't particularly want to just go, yeah, no, I have got a play coming. Yeah, and I do want people to go. I'm truthful about that. But interviewing you, this is not like when people have a film coming out and they go, and there's someone sat there saying this is what you can talk about and this is what you can't. You can ask me something that I don't want to answer and I won't answer it.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
But unfortunately, I'll probably answer it and then kick myself.
You have a complete and total right to not say anything at all.
Okay. Yeah, my problem is.
But I like that.
Okay. I mean, it's easier because when we were Chumbawamba, then you really have a duty to each other to not just say stuff which I could never master.
Really?
But that was fine because we were sort of the band where people understood it, and it was sort of fine.
Yeah.
It brought a few crisis meetings.
Did it?
Yeah, but we were sort of united in it.
Yeah, I have that impression.
Yeah.
So you had this really long kind of gestation period where you everything was so kitchen sink and DIY, and that's what, as an outsider, was lovely to see. And then suddenly it just went mental.
We were pretty sane, actually. We didn't, I mean, yes, suddenly things became different, but it depends who you talk to, whether what people got out of it. Because I did the interviews, I did a lot of talking, which was fine. And I didn't do the interviews because I was in control. People thought that, they thought you did everything. I did the interviews because we sort of recognised what people were good at. And I'll be straight now, I could be quite charming. And I'm not doing myself any favours, am I?
Somebody were laughing over there when you said you'll be quite
No, I know,
charming.
but you know what I mean. So I do the interviews. But if you talk about yourself all day, you go to bed feeling dirty. Do you know what I mean? There's
No, I don't. I'm not sure I do, actually.
well, okay. Even though you're not talking about yourself because it's a band, you are talking all day about what you think about blah, 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 because that's your job. And I used to really enjoy it until I was doing tons and tons of it. And then I was like, oh no, I don't want to, you know, I'm sick at sounding my own voice. But you still have to get up the next morning and do it. So when it all went crazy, I couldn't let myself enjoy it as much as I should have, probably.
How I'm interpreting that is that it became maybe corrosive.
No, it didn't really. Not as a group of people.
No, I mean, for you as an experience, you know, having worked in music for a bit.
Well, there were a few things, right? I thought that some people were better at it than others, and if you do all the interviews, then people think, oh, you're driving it, and we were never like that. Do you know what I mean? We were never. I wasn't the driving force, I'll be absolutely straight about that. But I was part of a group of people. So in a way, and because of the way that if someone's the one doing the talking for a group of people, then they assume that somehow you must be in charge of it. And I wasn't in charge, so in the same way you thought, oh, I was scary, people thought that I ordered everyone about. And honestly, I mean, there's people in this room that will attest to it. Pussycat. It's true, isn't it?
No. I dare say otherwise, no.
Whatever you say.
Well, no, I mean...
it made me wonder basically about the nature of things. When Kurt Cobain killed himself, I just thought, why didn't you just leave and get a job? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Why didn't you, if you were really unhappy, and when people are doing it all the time, it's just really bad for your soul to do it all the time. That's what I thought about me. Just didn't think it, and I'm not religious. I was brought up religious to a certain extent, but it didn't. I sort of thought, oh, I don't deserve all this attention. And whether or not that's a weird thing in me, and whether if I'd been a brilliant singer, I would have thought, oh, I deserve it, just give me more attention. But that is not how I felt. So when you say corrosive, I don't think it were really, because we came out the other end okay. Do you know what I mean?
And I only know this because 18 months ago, Dunstan did his one-man show down here, which was brilliant, and offered an insight into, through his perspective, was what it was like being in the eye of all that. But he did some really ace stuff with it, and I love all that.
Well, the thing is, the Prescott thing, that night I was really happy. I mean, I were. That was the night where I went to sleep going, oh, fuck it, it's all worth it. You know, I've got a cramp from grinning at twats, but it's all worth it. But you didn't always feel, you didn't always feel like that. Plus, I am not a musician really, so you're talking to the wrong person. Because if you talk to other people, they are musicians in a band. I was in a gang.
We're talking about subjective experiences, though, aren't we? And your experience is always going to be different to the other people who are involved.
Yeah, but we were a gang. I mean,
Yeah.
really, we were a gang of people. So, and since then, I've learnt to value what I did more. Do you know what I mean? When I left all that, ooh, I don't know how I managed that for so long. Whereas now I think, oh yeah, that's the piece in the puzzle, that's how we work, that's how it fits.
So it was that gang mentality that maintained it for you for...
It was a gang mentality, but it was also, you didn't all have to be, you know, we all had different sort of strengths, but it stood me in really good stead working with people and learning that thing of putting up with stuff. We learned to put up with stuff from each other for the good of the whole, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And quite often you look at groups of people and they won't put up with anything to carry on as a group. Do you know what I mean? So when you see famous breakups of band, and I'm not saying we were famous breakups of band, it will like, oh, it all came to a head when, and then they'll say something, and you think, oh, I would have put up with that. Do you?
Yeah. What? Because I don't know.
Well,
what did happen? Why did you stop being involved in that?
Well, the electric band were coming to a head, because really, I think we always thought we'd always want to be moving forward and doing different things and getting better. And there were a point where we just thought, actually, we can carry on the electric band, but it'll be dwindling returns. And I'd always said, I can't do this past 40 because I'm not a natural musician. I'd got to about 43, and I just wanted to write, but I needed a push. You know, people have a thing where they think, I think I can do this. And I thought I had a muscle for writing. But, so when the electric band were coming to head, it was like, okay, I need to stop now, and I need to write to see if I can. So some of us went off to do other things, and they carried on as acoustic band, because there were life in that, do you know what I mean? That could carry on, whereas we could have carried on, but we'd have been in Germany all the time. Do you know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
And on top of that, our lives have changed. We've got families, and I can't speak for other people. But I had something where I thought, I think I might be better at this. Well, no, I didn't think. I thought, I know I'm better at this other thing, and I need to test it. I need to just do it to find out if I am.